today's presentation is about Asian American women leaders in Tampa and is part of our Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So my name is Becca and my co-host today is Becky, and we're both from the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Library. And I am happy to announce our presenters. We have three wonderful speakers, Dr. Abby Hamilton, Jenny Cheng Holcombe, and Mariben Andersen.
And we can go ahead and get started with our first presenter. Go ahead, Becca.
So our first presenter today, I'm going to give it off to Mariben Andersen.
Well, thank you, Becca. I am going to share my slides if you just bear with me. Hopefully everybody can see that. So my name is Mariben Espiritu Andersen. So you guys know Espiritu is my father's last name. I adopted it as my middle name as my tribute. I consider myself my parents' legacy. And obviously that is a Filipino name. So I am Filipino, born and raised in the Philippines. I arrived in the States in my early 20s. First of all, I wanted to talk about my identity, and it's broken down into achievements. I am a mother. I have two grown sons. And secondly, I'm a wife. I've been happily married, quote unquote happily, for 35 years. And I have been working with Michael Baker International, recently promoted last December as an associate vice president. I am the lead for the southern region, meaning to say the southern states, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, not so New Orleans is not a state. And diversity, equity, and inclusion. So DEI is very close to my heart. I am the founding member, which we founded 6 years ago, the National Association of Asian American Professionals. And obviously, Dr. Abby and Jenny are my co-board members. I'm the current president. I've been the Environmental Awards Chair for 15 years for the Florida Airports Council, and was recently appointed in November of 22 to the City of Tampa Mayor's Asian American Pacific Islander Advisory Council, and most recently, I was the chair of the Tampa API Cultural Festival. So all of those require hard work, dedication, and commitment. My beliefs and values started when I was a child. Most of it is from my parents during my formative years. And so my dad at 6 told me that I am responsible for my own actions. They raised me to believe that I can do whatever I want to, be successful, be whatever I can be as long as I'm willing to work hard. And in my early career, I had a mentor that taught me that it is better to be kind than right, and that has served me really well. So my thinking is whenever someone calls me is how I can help them, doesn't matter who it is. My husband taught me to relax because I'm a type A personality. I always like on the go and like to accomplish things. So he taught me how to relax and do things that make me happy and put myself first every once in a while. And I've learned through all of my life that life is what you make it. So basically, that is what I am about. As for leadership, leadership started early for me. I belong to Christian Family Movement in a youth group. I started as a sergeant of arms when I was in first grade. I did not want to be president because I didn't want that responsibility. But while in college, I was in a junior marketing society where one of the leaders actually let us sort things out to see who was a natural leader. And it turned out that I like to find resolution to problems and started coordinating. And that's how I find out that I have some natural traits of being a leader. And then from then on, I started training. I was one of the charter members of the Philippine Zoological Society, attended several leadership trainings, including Carnegie's. And when I moved to the States, I had to learn about cultural differences and effective communication. So effective communication starts with listening. Have to listen to your colleagues and figure out what they're really saying. In the business world, listening to your clients is one of the, I guess, best traits, effective traits that you could possibly do, because that zones in on what they want. And as they say, the client is always right. I lead by example, meaning to say that I will not ask anyone to do anything that I'm not willing to do, and I respect everyone. That means being on time, respecting commitments of providing the help that is promised, and effective communication as in asking if, if they understood what I was trying to convey. That goes without saying. And surrounding myself with smart people. So for community engagement, we started at a really young age. When I was in the young age, we were a member of Merit. Those are actually streets in my neighborhood, and we did community service. CFM stands for Christian Family Movement, and we actually taught Bible study, led Bible study to the younger kids. I was always taught to pay it forward and to share my passion and talent. Um, if you ever get to know me, my speed is always fast and 200%. So more related to the community in Tampa, we have NAP Tampa Bay, and of course the City of Tampa Mayor's Asian American Pacific Islander Advisory Council. I also volunteered for the Humane Society as photographer, and at schools that my kids and my nephew uh, went to. And really, that is all I have. I believe in giving back to the community. I am at a point in my life that I am very grateful to the ones that touched my life and would like to do the same in return. So being at AAPI Heritage Month, I thought I'd give you the different ways to say thank you. In Filipino, it's salamat. In Chinese, it's sheshe. In Korea, it's kamsahamnida. Probably not doing that. In Japanese, it's arigato. And Hawaiian, it's mahalo. And you can read the rest. Back to you, Becca.
All right, thank you so much, Mariben. And our next speaker is going to be Cheng Holcombe.
Hi, thanks, Becca. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Again, my name is Cheng Holcombe. I am Chinese. Both my parents are first generation, born from Hong Kong. My father is the quintessential American dream story. He came to the States as a student, graduated university, worked at GE, and then he realized he wanted to be his own boss. He moved to Connecticut, and then down here to Florida, where he built up his own electrical engineering firm. So I get my entrepreneurship goals and hard work from my father, and I get a lot of the other parts of supporting the family and taking care of the family at home from my mom, who was always there to cook a hot meal, always there to keep us in place and everything else, have a clean home and so on and so forth as a traditional Asian mom. So I own a mobile notary signing service. Basically, I service general notary work along with working with lawyers and title companies. I've always pretty much been a small business owner. I worked with my father for a very long time until COVID hit, and then started my own business, and hence my mobile notary company. So as a second generation born here in the States, my upbringing was a little different from Mariben's. I didn't grow up with a lot of Asians around me other than my immediate family. I can remember being very young in elementary school, and I was one of 2 Asian kids in the whole school. And the teachers would always confuse us too. I mean, we both had short little bob haircuts. We were the same height. However, the other's kid name was Eddie, and he was a boy. But for whatever reason, they could never tell the difference between the two of us. So, but the thing was that Eddie would always get in trouble, and then I would always be getting in trouble as well. But it wasn't because of me, it was because he would get in trouble, and then they would somehow think we were both the same kid or one or the other. So part of the thing was that that was my first experience and only experience really when I was in elementary school of another Asian. After that, I didn't see a lot of other Asian kids growing up. So, you know, even when I went into middle school and high school, there was maybe a handful of Asian kids. So I didn't have any kind of outside friends growing up or an Asian community where I could connect with other Asians. It was just my parents and my brother, and then as my sister much later on. So for me, finding when I went to college and finding another Asian club to me was totally new experience that I really wanted to explore. And when you're at that age, you really, you know, you try to look for new things. And for me, I kind of felt like the odd man out, even though I was amongst other Asians. And the only other time I had other Asian friends was when I worked in a Chinese restaurant. So for me, it's, I didn't get that experience growing up as an Asian person with other Asians. So it wasn't until I got into college that I really got to explore and get to know other cultures other than just being Chinese. I mean, I didn't know anything about other Koreans and Japanese and so on and so forth. I was pretty much the face of the Asian community growing up in middle school or high school. I could be my own Asian club, but we didn't have that back then in high school. So knowing who I am now and finding my voice, I want other Asians to know that they're not alone and that there is someone or an organization such as NAP, as Mariben had mentioned earlier, that's, you know, we're out there to connect and grow and find what it means to be Asian to you and to others who are not like us. One of the things I found really funny was that AAPI month really didn't start, it started actually back in the 80s, but you wouldn't have really known that. And it wasn't until I feel like it's within the past 10 years that you start to hear more about AAPI events or about people. And so from my own experience, I really didn't hear anything about AAPI. So, and I feel like being engaged in the community now and having a face that we can all be out there to help each other really makes a difference, and just taking that step forward. So one of the most important things to me about being engaged and in leadership is that it's funny how it isn't until you're a parent that you realize how much more important your heritage really means to you and what you want it to mean to your children. So, and especially my children are half Asian and half Caucasian. So I feel with the internet and social media these days and children, and you can kind of get lost in the endless feeds and knowing who you are. So for me, setting the example as a parent, being engaged in the community, being involved in an organization that represents who I am as an Asian, and meeting other Asians in the community and showing that to my kids really makes me, you know, hopefully is something that can pass down and set an example for them so that when they grow up, they can do the same thing for their own kids and their own community and make it their own. So, but I feel like not only is it just to help out with your own supportive, you know, Asian communities, but, you know, volunteering your time with other communities as well. And not only do I do NAP, but I volunteer at Feeding Tampa Bay. I volunteer in Band Boosters Club with my daughter. And a lot of times they didn't even know that she was Asian until they see me as their mom, and they kind of put two and two together. So just being active and engaged, I feel like that is one of the most important things that you can do, and having your hand out ready for anyone who needs it, to me, is important. So a lot of times I just feel like I may not know everything, but I can find someone who can help you with it and that's how we build communities. That's how we build friendships and grow as people. And I want that to be just as important within my own Asian community as it is as letting other people know about who we are as a community as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And our last presenter tonight is Dr. Abby Hamilton.
Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, it
We
looks
can,
great.
yes.
Okay. So, hi everybody. Thank you so much, Jenny and Mariben. I mean, this whole message for AAPI and for our existence here is exactly what I'm going to be talking about too. So, thank you for bringing that up. It's all our experiences. So, first of all, I wanted to say that, you know, I grew up here in the Tampa area since I was 2 years old, right here in the Carrollwood area, if you know where we are. And so I am second generation, just like Jenny, born in New York, raised in Tampa, and being a Filipino American, I have a different experience. So I'm glad that the library is putting this together so that we could kind of have our voice and let you know what we are and who we are and all the great things we're doing. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist and a speaker and an author. And I'm also the director of student services at Everglades University. So I get out there and I speak specifically about the research that I did on Filipino Americans, showing that our culture can get in the way of our being assertive. And so since I completed that research on 500 Filipino Americans, I realized there's something to say, to tell everyone what to do about that. So I've written a book called Speak Up Anak, and it is, Anak means child in Filipino language, in Tagalog, and it's assertiveness strategies for Filipino Americans to help us realize what's going on in our culture, what's going on in this experience as an American who was raised Filipino, and how can we be assertive without breaking all the great things that we learned as we grew up, without ruining our values and without with still staying true to ourselves. I also have done 3 TEDx talks speaking specifically about assertiveness and how we can find our voice and that it's not ugly, it's beautiful. So I've enjoyed the stage to share this message, not just for Filipino Americans, but for all people who have trouble speaking up. Here in the Tampa area, I'm really excited to be part of the National Association of Asian American Professionals with Mariben and with Jenny, because we are able to find each other here and to help empower each other to find our voice, to get out there, to be leaders, to understand that we have value in this community, despite the natural human nature of the society that still is trying to figure out what our role is. We are able to connect and feel more empowered, feel more engaged, and feel more supported while we're trying to get out there and tell everybody, hey, you know what, we're important too. Part of finding our voice is also something really exciting that I've been part of here in Florida. It's something called Make Us Visible Florida. So just a couple weeks ago, the governor signed a bill that allowed us to add Asian American Pacific Islander history to the K through 12 curriculum in the public schools. And one of the biggest things we love about this is exactly what Jenny was talking about. Jenny was saying that she was the only Asian and people looked at her in a different way. And I'm so excited because now in kindergarten, first grade, all the way through 12th grade, the children will be learning that, hey, there's something cool that an Asian American did here in this country. Wait a minute, Jenny, aren't you Asian too? And slowly we changed the awareness. And finally these children will grow into a society that recognizes that just because we look this way, it doesn't mean that we're just visitors in this country. We're all part of this country too. So, oh my goodness, Make Us Visible has been an army of people who have reached out to the legislators to have really nice, meaningful conversations about our experience and the fact that we do have so much struggle. And as we ask the legislators, please, please vote for this. And they did, and it's actually happening. So we're making great strides here in Florida, and we are the fifth state out of the whole country to have this added. So there's progress being made. Another part of being a leader here in Florida, in the Tampa area, is my role as the president of the Florida chapter of the National Federation of Filipino American Associations. And so for that, one of our goals here in Florida is to teach the future generations. This is a way that we could be a leader, is to pass it on, to send the legacy out. And part of that is presentations like this. So thank you to Hillsborough County Library organization for making this possible for us to get out here and to tell everyone what we are and what we stand for. Part of our initiatives here in Florida is youth leadership conferences, to get these youth together, teach them their heritage, make them realize, hey, you know who you are and you know what you could become. That is our legacy that we get to leave behind. And so we have to start early, don't we? So I'm excited. We're going to be having a presentation in Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and Jacksonville. And they're coming up. If you guys want to Google that, it's on Eventbrite. And the people that you know can sign up for it. It's really exciting. This is where the seeds get planted. And here in the Tampa area, if you haven't already heard about PhilFest, I'm the vice chairman of the Philippine Cultural Foundation. Part of my role as a leader in this community is to preserve our heritage, to know where we came from, and to celebrate all the beauty of our culture. So PhilFest was a 3-day festival in April, happens every April. This year we brought out 16,000 people in 3 days to eat the food, to watch the presentations, to look and purchase from the vendors. And it was just crazy, awesome, just culture. The funny thing is, one of my friends posted on Facebook a picture of himself at the festival, and everyone was like, where are you, in the Philippines? And one of the neat things that you all can be proud of is that happens right here in Hillsborough County, right off Racetrack Road, right there in the West Chase area. And we have an entire fairgrounds and an event center, and that's made possible through this, the Philippine Cultural Foundation. So excited about that. Now, if you want to branch out and do something different, expose yourself to some different things, especially with the Filipino heritage, I invite you on June 11th at 3 p.m. There's an amazing dance group, the Leyte Dance Theater. They are coming from the Philippines to perform an out of this world performance. I mean, just look it up at the Philippine Cultural Foundation. And then also on August 20th, we're going to be having the Barrio Fiesta, also at the Bayanihan Arts and Event Center, right there in the West Chase area. And that's put on by the Filipino American Association of Tampa. So as you can see, there's so much going on right here in your backyard. And we have the privilege and the honor of sharing our culture with the Hillsborough, Pasco, Pinellas communities, the greater Tampa Bay area. We hope that you'll look into it. And there's a quote that just says, culture is the widening of the mind and of the spirit. So I invite you to widen your mind and your spirit through being curious about culture and something maybe a little bit different than what you once knew. Thank you so much for having us here today. And I hope that we're able to enlighten you a little bit with our efforts here in the greater Tampa Bay area as Asian American women leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again. I loved hearing from all of you. Do we have our slides back up?
Working on it right now. We'll
Okay.
get to it, but as people are waiting for the slides to come up, just feel free to continue to put in your questions for our presenters. And actually, before we get to our questions, we're going to go ahead and share some library resources.
All right, so we just wanted to share a few additional resources that kind of relate to things that we've talked about today that you can access through the library. The first one here is titled The Visibility Mindset, and it's an audiobook that's available through Hoopla by Bernice Chow and Jessalyn Lamb. And it focuses on how Asian American leaders can push boundaries and create opportunities for themselves, and is a great resource for managers and other business leaders. And our second resource here is called Our Voices, Our Histories, and that is also a audiobook available through Hoopla. And it discusses the unique historical experiences, perspectives, and actions in the United States and further, from various women authors with Asian American and Pacific Islander backgrounds.
Right, those sound great. Thank you. And you can also check out the library's webpage on Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This is our last virtual program on the month, but we still have book lists up and resources. And you can go to the library YouTube channel to view program recordings at youtube.com/user/Tampa Hills Lib. And this program will also be put on there at the end. So you can always check that out. That'll be soon. And we can get to our questions now. So I actually have the first question. What advice would you give to a young aspiring leader? And this
All
for
of us can answer
anybody,
that question.
yes, for anybody, yeah.
For a young aspiring leader, I would advise you to connect with 5 people. 1, an older one that has wisdom. 2, one that's good with finances, so you know how to manage your money. 3, a good friend that would tell you the truth no matter what. 4, someone in the profession that you aspire to be so they can be your mentor or coach. And last but not the least, another one that is the same age so you can have fun, because having fun and acting your age is very important in your growth. Abby can answer, and I'm sure she's got a different perspective.
I love that, Mariben. Do you have that in your back pocket? That's so good. I need to write that one down. Okay. So an aspiring young leader, I will say that, listen, you only know what you know, right? You've learned certain things from your parents, your teachers, your friends, your coaches, and you'll only be able to do as much as you've been exposed to. So along with the mentors and the supporters that Mariben brought up, I will say be curious and open your mind to new things. Get out there, constantly be listening to podcasts, watch YouTube videos that are enriching, listen to audiobooks, pick up a book. They exist, just so you know. We're on the library presentation with pages and everything. So read, and you'll all of a sudden you'll feel like, what just happened to me? I all of a sudden feel like I can do so much more. And so you lift the ceiling as you become more resourceful and more curious. Don't allow yourself to just know what you know. Even if your friends don't read, and you push yourself to do something more, because it's not the norm. I hate to say it. It's not the norm. So be something different and push yourself to be curious.
Wow. Okay. So there's not much to say after those two. Those are great advice. I think one of the most important things that I've learned, knowing now what I know, is to tell a young person is not to be afraid. I think there's a lot of times when we always have self-doubt and we always have that voice like of a certain feeling we have. There's always someone else out there who feels the same exact way you do. Or if you have a question about something, there's always someone out there who has the same question as you. You're not the only one. And I think it's really important to remind yourself to don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to walk up to someone. More than half the time, if not even every time, most people are more than happy to help you or give a lending hand or give any kind of advice. So, and that could be in anything and anybody, really. But that's how I've always kind of looked at life, is just don't be afraid to do it. Take that step forward, no matter what it is that you're trying to solve, whether it's a math question or if it's something about leadership or how to accomplish a goal or accomplish some kind of event that you want to start. It's always important to just remind yourself that if you just take that deep breath in and then just move forward, and you never know where it'll lead you. Because honestly, that's kind of like it leads you from one thing to another. And before you know it, you had no idea you're where you are if you had not asked that question or were not afraid to put forth that effort. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, I think that was great advice for anyone. So I do have an additional question too. I was just wondering if any of you or all of you, if you wanted to chime in, could talk about how you first got involved in the NAAAP and kind of like give a brief summary of any activities you guys do.
I can start off. Actually, it's funny because I had mentioned, I didn't really get involved with Asianness until I got into college. And actually, the club that I was in at USF, the Asia Club, one of the founding members, she actually reached out to me, I guess maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago is when NAP started. And she said, hey, I'm having this panel starting. It wasn't with NAP necessarily, but she was involved in NAP at the time. And so she was the one who told me about it. And that's how I got started. And I met Mariben and several other people, Man Lee, who was another one of the original founding members. That's how I started getting involved in NAP. I was so excited to find other business professionals that I wanted to get involved as well. And the moment I got involved in that, then COVID hit. So, but now that things are opened up and things are active, basically, I've tried to engage and give out as far as NAP is concerned, let other
Uh-oh.
We lost you for a second there.
Yeah, you
go.
froze.
There you go.
Okay.
I had a phone call. Sorry. I let let our NAP members know about other Asian organizations in the area, about other events that go on, connecting other Asian professionals with others, whether it's in the same field or needing a mentorship, which is also a big part of NAP as well.
So 6 years ago, I was in the Hillsborough County DBE Transportation Forum attending it, because that is actually what I do as an environmental scientist. And I met Man Lee, and then he said, oh, we need you. We're forming NAP. I didn't even know what NAP was 6 years ago. So I had to Google it and research it. And it goes like, we're forming NAP. We're having a meeting on such and such a date. You have really good skills. You need to come join us. And that was how it all started. And that was 6 years ago. And I'm still here. And I am the only founding member that's active. That's not to say that I can't call them if I need their support. They are available. So And then I recruited Abby and Jenny to be officers. We had other members. We even had a board member at large from Orlando. He did not want to join NAP Orlando. He wanted to join NAP Tampa Bay. That should say something about us. We are very warm and welcoming. We don't, I mean, it's very much inclusivity and equity. We don't care if you're young. We did have a student chapter. Unfortunately, she had personal issues, and so our student chapter over at USF is on hold. I connected with one of the UT students. So, we have connections at UT, USF, SAA, the Society of American Scientists and Engineers of Asian American. So I even have an email saying like, I want to take this lessons. It's a Chinese instrument. So I connected the person with the Chinese Association of Tampa Bay. So we have connections across the board, and we use those to help people, and it doesn't matter how little it is. My email address is on the website. So I get a lot of emails, and I just try to do the best that I can. Abby?
No, I'm just thankful for Mariben reaching out to me and letting me be part of this. I know we were in a little bit of a coma during pandemic, but I'm so excited for the really cool relationships that we are starting to form with some of the people who are here as participants. Thanks you guys for coming. We're slowly building, and it's just magical how we're connecting with each other and building our community. So NAP exists and is strong and is growing.
I like to say also about NAP is it's not just you have to be an Asian professional.
Right.
It can be Asian supporter. We're open to that, obviously, of course. So it's everyone, and it's like Mariben said, it's inclusive to young, old, Asian, not Asian. That's all about building the networks. It's all about connecting with others, exposing, and just sharing. All the different cultures that we all have together. So
yeah, my husband is 1/100 Chinese, and he attends the he attends the what you call the our meetups and events. Not to mention, he lives with me, so he he does a lot of hard work for us when we have to put up tents and be at booths.
He's awesome.
No, that's great to know. Yeah. I just had the question of what can we do to help support the Asian American community?
Oh, that's simple. Be involved.
There we go.
Be involved. Really, be involved. If you join NAP or the Chinese American Association or the Asian American Pacific uh, APABA, which is lawyers. It's not the Vietnamese community. I mean, if you think about it, there is a group. The Hmong community has a group. Everybody has a group. The Thais have a group. If that is where you think you belong, it's a comfort level. But the point is, the visible Florida, we wrote a letter from NAP to support, Florida, and I'm sure the Filipino cultural, community did too. And those letters mean a lot because it's not from one person, it's from a group of 50, 100 people, etc. So you have a stronger voice because there's as simple as, united we stand, divided we fall. And NAP is great because it's not just Vietnamese, Thai, Malaysian, Laotian, Cambodian. It's all Asia and Pacific Islanders. And we have African American members. And of course, my husband is Caucasian. He's, by association. So that's another thing. We have a lot of biracial couples. And so we actually develop friendships. One of our members is in the audience, Joyce. So, and Abby's married, that Jenny's, is other, sorry,
Yeah.
but but we identify with, because of the cultural differences, and so we identify and we form stronger bonds. I'll shut up now.
I would say just it's going to take effort. Don't be lazy. Don't give up. Don't just say, "Oh well." I mean, it just takes too much effort to push our groups. Just might as well go with the flow, do other things, find meaning in it, and also, more than anything, I would say if you really want to advance the Asian American Pacific Islander community, is invest time and effort and into our youth, our future generations. I mean, I will say we just had the most amazing Asia Festival, Asia Pacific Islander Cultural Festival at Curtis Sixton Waterfront Park. It was beautiful, but you know what? We had one years ago. We had them years ago, and they were beautiful and wonderful, and with so many people. And then people got older, got caught up in other stuff, got busy, and then we didn't have it for so long. And now we're active again. So keep on going, and also bring everyone with you. Get other people involved, and especially the youth, because they're the ones who will carry on our traditions.
Yeah, I think I will even go further as in saying, when you're out and about, when you're going out to a restaurant or you're going to a small business owner, and get to know them. Especially being a small business Asian owner, a lot of times there's all kinds of different stories and where their background comes from. And the more you can get to know them and where they're coming from, the better you have an idea of what it means to us to be Asian and to be part of the American dream, or to be part of this great country. A lot of, Mariben, Abby, myself, my parents, being immigrants. And that's not an uncommon story, whether you're Asian or not Asian, right? So finding that commonality, trying to be how it feels to be in that other person's shoes and know their story, can kind of bridge that gap to make other Asians feel a little bit more seen. So that's what I would have to say.
That's very nice. So we have another question. First of all, they just wanted to thank all of you guys for the work you do. And then they're specifically asking about language is very important in connecting to our cultures, and Tagalog is not taught at any Florida universities. Do you know any resources or initiatives in Tampa or Florida as a whole related to Tagalog, I think?
I'm going to let Abby answer that question.
I know that the Philippine Cultural Foundation used to have lessons, and unfortunately the leader of that group, of that initiative, passed away. In Jacksonville, I know that they have Filipino classes, and they teach Tagalog there. They're popping up, and you know how I said earlier, it takes effort, and it's easy to be lazy, or it's easy to just be okay with the status quo. Starting a Tagalog class does take a lot of effort, and it takes a certain person who can do it and do it well. In the meantime, I'm also in that boat where I am dying to learn. I would say, in my case, I found so many great resources online, even YouTube, apps. Unfortunately, Babbel doesn't have Tagalog, but I know that Rosetta Stone does. Is Rosetta Stone, and I've heard it's good. But there's some really great programs out there. Just get started somehow, some way. And then also, here's a hack: watch the Tagalog movies on Netflix, because you can pick up a whole bunch of words and slowly things will make a lot of sense to you. So we got to start somewhere.
I was gonna say, actually, through the library, we have a resource that's called Mango Languages, and I think Tagalog is available on there as well. So if you do have a library card,
I was just checking. It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that would also be a good place you could go.
Yeah, Mango Languages is great. You can download it right on your phone and just do it as you're able to pick it up and do a little lesson here, a little lesson there. It really is. I've done Spanish on there. It's great.
So I wanted to add that if you are a resident of Hillsborough County, because with state sheet, Hillsborough County Public Library, you can have apps like Libby, and you can borrow books on tape for free, and you can borrow like a lot of books for free. And they have books on tape on Tagalog that you can borrow. I'm not familiar with Mango, but I know that they have books on tape in Tagalog. You can listen to it and pick up the language. Like I watch a lot of Korean Netflix, and I'm picking up the language from watching it. And I'm supposed to talk to Abby in Tagalog because I'm fluent, so that she could pick it up. But we haven't we've been busy lately because it's AAPI Heritage Month. I'm just saying, it's not just languages, but even like, national best-selling books for free, guys. This is a benefit to you as a resident, because I am on books on tape pretty much all day long because I drive and travel. So it's a great way to be engaged. And it's like, okay, I don't even want to go to my meetings because I'm like on the, it's just getting good, but I have to pause it and go to work. So anyway, it's just a plug for the Hillsborough County. I can tell you, I probably have 212 audiobooks that I borrowed.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful to hear. All right, so we're actually over time, so we do have to come to an end, but I want to thank all of our presenters for joining us, for sharing your stories and sharing great information, and of course the library support. We love that. If anybody has any follow-up questions in our audience, you can contact the library at hcplc.org/contact or give us a call at 813-273-3652. We also have information about our presenters here on screen. So Mariben is at mariben.andersen at naap.org. And Dr. Abby Hamilton is abbyhamilton333@gmail.com. And Jenny Cheng Holcombe is jennycholcombe@gmail.com. So you can reach out.
Can I plug one last thing?
Of course.
The most active page that we have is Tampa Asian Professionals, NAP Tampa Bay, on Facebook, because all of our events are on Facebook. So Candace, if you're still on, if you want to know what we're doing, that is the best way. And it's long story short, our NAP webpage was based on Silk Start, and which is not supported, and it's done by National. So we're having a rough time right now. And so majority of our activities are on a Facebook page because we have control over it.
Nope, that is great information. So Tampa Asian Professionals on Facebook?
Yes, Tampa Asian Professionals, NAP Tampa.
Okay. Great. Yep. Everyone's appreciating, saying thank you so much. So thank you everybody for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the night.
Thank you.
Bye everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Good
Happy
night all.
AAPI Heritage Month, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.